Good afternoon. My name is Jasmine Prakash, and I am a senior at the University of Central Florida. I am studying restaurant and food service management, and I expect to graduate in May of 2024 with a Bachelor of Science from the Rosen College of Hospitality Management. My work experience includes hostess, carryout, and server team member positions at Paisano Stonefire Pizza Windermere. As a hostess, I was in charge of making and managing all reservations, building a floor plan, and maintaining a server rotation system. As carryout, I was in charge of taking all over the phone and online orders, organizing the orders as they came out of the kitchen, and sending them off with correct guests in a timely manner. As a server, I was in charge of maintaining a 5-table section and moving quickly and efficiently through service while still creating a great guest experience. Additionally, I was the assistant summer camp director of the Brace Family YMCA's Camp Eagle Rock in 2022 and 2023. From this position, I was in charge of a 90-person staff, a 9-person leadership team. I dealt with all day-to-day operations, and I dealt with all camper-to-camper conflicts and staff-to-staff conflicts. Currently, I am a server assistant at Norman's Orlando. Norman's is a fine dining restaurant owned and operated by Chef Norman Van Aken. As a server assistant, I am responsible for knowing all menu items. I am responsible for knowing all of the ingredients and allergens that may come with each menu item. I must know all of the significance behind each creation of a menu item, and I must maintain each server's table section, usually responsible for 3 to 4 servers at a time, and I will fill all of their waters. I will run bread, run food to their tables, and bus tables, and then reset them in between each course. My goal is to attend culinary school after graduation and then eventually own and cook in my own restaurant, fine dining. I dedicated my cover letter to Tommy Troll, who is the general manager at Peppervine in Charlotte. Peppervine is a fine dining restaurant, but it is to a smaller scale than Norman's is. My goal there is to fill their captain position, and I will use my leadership skills from being assistant director and my fine dining knowledge from Norman's in order to fill this position. My source stories both come from my time at summer camp. Although they are not within the restaurant industry, they do showcase my coaching skills, one of my strengths from my Strengths Finder. And so my first source story is, like I said, from summer camp. It was week 8. There are 10 weeks each summer. Each week has a theme. Theme can be anything from Aloha Summer, which is our beach week, or our Space Week, or our Wild West Week. And I have 5 program coordinators. Each coordinator is responsible for all things that have to deal with programming, which means planning activities, planning crafts, and games. Each program coordinator was supposed to be responsible for 2 weeks of camp, and they were to pick those at the beginning of the summer. Each of my 5 program coordinators picking 2 weeks means that a whole 10 weeks should be planned. However, we reached week 8, and we realized that one of the weeks, week 8, had gone unplanned. We had lost our document that all of my program coordinators had picked their weeks on, and because of this, we weren't sure who was supposed to plan that week. All of my program coordinators were pointing fingers at each other. It's week 8, so it's been a long, hot summer, and they were just very frustrated. When I stepped in, I reminded them that we are here for the kids and our campers, and it is our job to get something out for them. So I came up with some activities and crafts that we had used from a year prior, and I delegated out responsibilities. I assigned each to go to Walmart and buy supplies, to print out craft sheets, to find any supplies that we currently had around camp, and then to assist the others. By the end of the day, we had everything planned, organized, and printed out and dispersed to the locations at camp that they needed to be. And come the next day, camp starts on Monday, we figured everything out on a Sunday. Everything was okay, and no counselors or campers had any idea that we didn't have anything to show for the day before. This was a great learning opportunity for both me and my leadership staff. I learned that I definitely need to make sure that I double check everything that is supposed to be assigned, because I did overlook that and I did admit that. And my leadership staff learned that it's okay to make mistakes just as long as we take them in stride and move on. My second source story also comes from summer camp. It was the beginning of the summer, and we had received a new camper. He was 6 years old, and he had just moved from across the country. He was having a very difficult time adjusting to living in a new place with people he didn't know and wasn't comfortable with, and he was being very aggressive, and he was cursing and being rude in general, just towards both counselors and campers. Every time myself, his counselors, or my leadership team tried to intervene, he just shut down or would be uncooperative, no matter what angle we came from. So I decided to involve his mother. At pickup, around the third day that we had him, the three of us sat down, him, his mother, and I, to discuss his behavior and how he was feeling. My goal was to come up with a strategic behavioral plan that would address his behaviors throughout the day, but would also help him learn how to regulate his emotions himself, because although he was acting out, it wasn't entirely his fault. I understood that he was coming from such a crazy move from across the country. I involved him in this process with his mother, and he was able to have some input in how we would handle certain situations, and this showed him that I was to be trusted. And after we had settled on things all together, we moved into the next camp day the next day, and his behavior improved almost immediately. And we've had him for summers past, and he has very much grown and been able to regulate his emotions, and that's something that I'm proud of. So those were my source stories, and that was my portfolio. Thank you so much for listening.